Anyone else ever saved up over months of very limited income, i.e. student finance, etc., and then took themselves on a solo trip only to be further traumatised, see I can't even say the word because it's that bad, and then just made to feel like what a waste of time, money, dignity, etc. Right, so as a disabled adult woman with no support network, no family, no friends, no partner, no social worker, no nothing, I bravely went to Italy in November 2023. Very last minute, very rushed, very cluelessly, and it was harrowing, that's all I'm going to say. Including on the way back to this dump in the northwest of England, I had my one and only phone stolen. I believe it was pickpocketed because I'm very careful with my devices usually, but like with many traumatic things that have happened to me, I had my data stolen and so I had to force myself to write this quite a long time after I went, so I've just written some positive reflections on Italy trip. Obviously my writing's very childlike and messy, don't blame me. I don't have any diagnosed health, or I don't have any diagnosed learning disorders, but I do think there is something there because I've always had very bad handwriting. So I've put things like, I got to briefly and from afar see some of the monuments. I paid for a last minute bus tour even with all my luggage and alone on the returning flight day. This is, I know it's a bit sad, but I just cut out some pictures from this little leaflet thing that I got just to prove that I went there. It was crap, honestly, it was awful. It was just awful in every sense of the word. It just was not the Rome that I was envisioning. It wasn't the Rome that I'd fantasised about travelling to. It was just awful, overcrowded, people are rude. There's just the ambience was just not there, and just like, but yeah, I forced myself to write these things. I'll keep this under 5 minutes because it's actually traumatising even to look at this one page. I'm going to throw this away soon, from this little journal that I have that I bought. I stayed alive, I smiled at people even when they didn't, even on a crappy Motorola phone which I no longer have since it was stolen. I took lots of photos and videos. I bought a pair of beige trousers from a little shop where I made the shopkeeper laugh by folding the clothes. It was a long story that he kept going upstairs to get me a different size, and every time he came back I folded the trousers and he kept saying thank you. But yeah, I mean, at least I can say there was at least a few things to laugh about. But it was quite strange when I think back in hindsight, because I technically went into a total stranger's shop where there's just this kind of middle-aged elderly person who worked there, and then he had to keep going upstairs. There's literally no one else in the shop. I didn't really think it through, to be honest. I really needed a pair of trousers, so I went last minute, and then on the flight back I ended up spilling wine on the trousers. Don't ask me, it's a long story. But it was funny. Because the majority of people there were extremely hostile. He was actually being polite, but obviously only because he was getting paid. Lovely, generous and funny young... Oh yeah, that was really funny. There was this person on the flight who was super kind. And then, God bless him, I know for a fact that that was a Christian person, and it was just one of those people who just exemplify what a Christian should be. And then I shocked a Belgian lady. She was so racist, as were her friends, but, you know, hopefully she learned something. I shocked her because she asked me where I'm really from, because she goes, where are you from? And then I said where I'm from, and then she goes, and then I said, oh, my parents from India. She goes, yeah, I thought so. And then she started like muttering to her other friend. She was Belgian, and then I could understand a little bit of the French they were talking about, and they were like, she speaks English, it speaks English, as though I'm some sort of different species. But yeah, just goes to show that at the very least, if nothing else, at least I'm a lot more cultured and let's just say, progressive than other people. I did everything independently. Not one person helped, called, texted, WhatsApped or guided me. That's what you call smart and capable and impressive. I bought and consumed actual Italian cuisine, including that, what does that say? Panna cotta, which I earned. Oh yeah, that's a long story. They literally reduced me to tears because they were being so hostile. And then she's like going, "Sorry, Mom, you are very important. We didn't mean to upset you. Here's a free panna cotta for upsetting." What an idiot woman, right? That's the kind of shit that I have to go through. At least I got an apology. The panna cotta wasn't even that nice. And just the fact that I've had this intention to even make a positive mood board, despite all the bad that happened. Yes, I went at 28 on such a low income, went all the way there. It is, as I've written here, commendable, and yeah, I contributed to the travel industry as a customer. That's one of the things I'm most proud of, because it's not like I was being paid to go there or anything like that. I contributed to the travel industry, and all I got in return was racism, abuse, having my phone stolen, being looked at as though, you know where this paper is going? Peru. Goodbye. And with that I signify that all those people be gone from my memory. I pray that including the bastard on the flight there who went, "Delicious, isn't she? These people have nothing." Yeah, I know, I saw you moving. That's my crappy attempt at a southern accent, but essentially what I'm trying to say, he was very, very, very racist, and he brought his own alcohol onto the plane. He was clearly a tramp, he was clearly uncultured, he was clearly uneducated, and I wish him the very, very, very worst, and he will get the very, very, very worst, and he will be identified because I have the flight number that I was on, and somehow, some way, by God's divine intervention and grace, whether he likes it or not, whether British Airways like it or not, whether his mates and his partner and whoever else likes it or not, he will be identified, he will be punished, and someone else somewhere else will have 100% made a complaint against him, because he seemed like those drunkards, those unbothered people who just say what they do, do what they do without any consideration for other people. I have no doubt in my mind that someone else somewhere out there, whether it be in the south of England or elsewhere, that wherever he's travelled, will have reported him or complained about him. It will be logged somewhere. The two or more complaints will be sort of, put together, collated, whatever the word is, and whether it's this year, whether it's in this next decade or later down the line when he's an even older man, the truth will out about his misbehaviours, his racist viewpoints, and his name, his picture, and all of his crimes will be outed and exposed. That's not delusional thinking, that is very, very, very logical thinking, because like I said, I logged the time, I logged the date, I told the person my seat number, he was directly behind me, so obviously and I wouldn't be able to recognise his face, unfortunately, because it was all very chaotic and I didn't really manage to, I'm usually very good at remembering people's faces, but unfortunately, or rather fortunately, I didn't see his face, and I didn't see what colour clothes he was wearing or anything like that. I just know that he was a white, bald man with a southern accent, and he had his own alcohol on the flight, and he was sat next to a black woman, which I assume was his partner, and she hypocritically didn't even speak up as a woman of colour when this man was making racist, derogatory comments. So she was just as bad as him, like so many are, and I have every ounce of faith in God's divine intervention, that the truth will out about him and about so many other wrongdoers. Because what these people fail to realise is that the words they say, the behaviours they commit, they go much further than they could ever possibly imagine. I bet he doesn't even know that I even heard or understood him. But I did. I heard him, I understood him. I remember everything he said, the tone in which he said it. There are too many people like him in this country and in this world. But eventually they will get their comeuppance, they will be humbled, and the truth will out. So thank you in advance. That hopefully preferably within the next decade, that individual, along with so many other perpetrators, will be outed. May he be sectioned, may he be arrested, may he be detained, may he be insulted, attacked, abused until he is humbled, until he repents, and until he respects God as well as other people. Thank you.